students registered for this module, Jean. I noticed for BNU, QMI, and DSC, there weren't many students. There's under 200. And
That's
so,
weird.
yeah, so I think it is just the enrollment management for Unisa and how they structure it that, we get most of the, or majority of the enrollments, first-time enrollments in the first semester. But anyway, welcome students. This is the first session for DSC 1520. You are in very good, capable hands of Mr. Jean Domacia. He will be your facilitator for the semester. My name is Bronwyn Wright. I'm the Regional Academic Coordinator for the Numeracy Center, or the Quantitative Literacies, under which the banner of Your Decision Sciences, this module is falling. So this is not a tutorial class in the full sense. This is a skills-based session, but there is certain concepts and skills that you will learn in this session that will assist you to be successful in the module. So it is very important that you attended. And like I say, Mr. Domacia is here to support you. We do have what we call one-on-one consultation. So if there is something in the content that you are struggling with, then you are more than welcome to reach out to Jean. You make a one-on-one booking with him at a time convenient for both of you, and then you can go and delve a little bit deeper into that content. Because the reason why we do not have tutorials for this particular module and some of the other modules, there's actually very limited tutorial classes at the moment, is because the academics are supporting you on a weekly basis. They have been contracted that they need to give you at least once a week a session. So please make sure that you know who your lecturers are and that you attend their sessions. There are a lot of fly-by-night institutions out there posing as Unisa academics, posing as Unisa tutors. There are, like I said, very limited tutorial classes, and we now support the students under the banner of academic literacies. So I will show you how you can go and see what modules are supported and where you can get information from the Western Cape region, but you're also more than welcome to explore other regions for their support that they offer. What I did want to say regarding the fly-by-night institutions, they usually pay or ask for a charged fee. With Unisa, we do not charge any money for either these sessions, the academic literacies, or tutorial classes, or any other forms of support that is already in your study fees. So please note that anything from Unisa is free of charge. So I'm going to just share with you now my screen so that you can see how we go about accessing our tutorial, how we go about accessing our academic literacy sessions or the Western Cape Student Support site, because this is a very it's where all our support is hosted. So if you don't have access, then you are required to please send us an email to ctntut@unisa.ac.za. If you don't mind just popping that email address into the chat. Alternatively, Jean does have his first slide. I saw has his email address on there. You're more than welcome to reach out to Jean, who can also then just forward the email to us at CTNTut. Okay, so I noticed with some of you, you have registered or logged in on a external account, or what we also call a unverified account. Let me just check who it was. Neo and Judy. It's just the two of you for now. So please make sure that you log in with your Unisa credentials, and the easiest way to do that, if you are using a shared, if you're using your work laptop or whatever, is to log into an incognito or incognito window if you're using Google Chrome as your browser. If you're using Edge like what I am, it's very easy. You just click on this three dots at the top, or we call it an ellipse, and you go into a new private window, and you just type in portal.office.com. And then you just sign in with your Unisa credentials. This is the easiest way. I have found that if you use, I'll show you how you can also add two different accounts onto one browser, but I have found with me it is conflicting at the moment, so it does give a bit of errors. So I just prefer doing it this way. So all you will do is you will log into the account. I'm just going to log into CTNTut. And obviously you will be using your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za and the password that you logged into your Unisa account. And then you can just say stay signed in, and you can click on yes. I'm just going to click on no for now. And there it opens up all your Office applications that you have. You can also see the ones that you have previously worked on. There is Teams, and you will be able to access your sessions from here. So this is the easiest way to do it. Then the other way to do it is, even if you're in this browser or you go into a new incognito window, new private window, is you just copy and paste the link that we shared with you in the SMX into this browser. If you have logged in, it's even better. If you log in as, in my case, CTN TAT, or you as in your student account, then it will take you to the teams that we are using. So this is one way of doing it. Then the other way of doing it, let me just get out of the private, is if you click on your icon at the top here, you can see in my instance, I've created a personal profile and a study profile. So this is one way that you can do it as well. You can see if I click on my study profile, it is completely different. The look and feel is completely different to what my work profile is. And if I click on my personal one as well, it is completely different. That's how I know that I'm working in the 3 different accounts. And also it will tell you at the top here. And you can also set up your own profile. In Edge, it is, like I said, you can do it. I don't know if it's because I've got the 3 different profiles that it is a little bit confusing, but you can set up a school account as well. So it's very simple. You just follow the prompts if you click on here. So it will be set up new profile and sign in to sync your data. Once you click on there, it will ask you to log in, and then it just starts syncing up everything. Okay, so that is basically how you can go into your account. Then once you are now all sorted out, let me just get back into my work one. Then all you need to do to get onto the portal is you click on Unisa, or My Unisa, sorry. You click on My Unisa and you will log into My Modules. Remember in My Unisa, you've got the 2 tabs that you log into, the My Admin and My Modules. The difference between the 2 is obviously very simple. The one is all your student admin related issues, like your academic record, changing your name, can't change your name, but changing your address, your cell phone number, etc., etc. So all of that is under your My Admin, but the modules is to do with all the modules that you have registered for, and also all the extra let's say topics or modules that they have linked to your student number. So with this one, I'm just going to make this bigger for you. You click on this login that says, are you a staff member, marker, or student? Do you have a My Life account? So you must make sure that your My Unisa, your My Life email has been activated, and you just click on that button over there. Okay, so then once you have done this, it opens up the landing page. This you will see with all modules, and you click on My Modules. Now you can see in my case, I am linked to the My Modules guide. I'm linked to tax 1501 and then the different region accounts. So you will see all the modules that you have registered for, and you should see the Western Cape. If you are from the Western Cape region, we've automatically added you. If not, Jean has popped our email address in there. All you need to do for me is send an email to CTN TAT with your student number in the subject line and access to the Western Cape portal. Then we will add you. It's not a problem. Even if you're from a different region, it doesn't matter. The more, the merrier. So once you are there, you click on Western Cape region. And then you will be taken to our landing page. It's just because I was in here yesterday. So this is what will open, is our student support site. Just on that, if you are from a different region and you want to belong to our site and the other region site, you can also do that. So you can see in my case, I belong to Eastern Cape, Gauteng, and Western Cape. So if you want to, you just ask them to add them to their portals, if they have portals running. Okay, so this is our campus. This is just, if you haven't been to the campus, what it looks like. So we do have a campus in Parow as well as in George. And this just gives you a brief overview of who we are. We've also got a Facebook page that we share all events that are happening, any important information for your students, bursaries, if there's a close of campus for whatever reason, we usually post that on our Facebook page. We also do post it on Twitter, but we're not as active on Twitter. We more go to the Facebook page. Unfortunately, as Unisa, our formal communication is only Facebook, Twitter, and then the SMS and emails. So the Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups is not done from Unisa's side, even though Jean is going to share with you his WhatsApp group. He is an independent contractor, so he is allowed to do that. It's in his own capacity. But from Unisa's side, we do not, unfortunately, do that. So Telegram groups and all of the WhatsApp groups is not run by Unisa's staff. However, I am aware that the academics do go into those Telegram groups to see what the students are up to. So also just be careful of that, because I know some students are sharing their assignments and they get caught for plagiarism. So just be aware of that as well, that your academics are lurking in those Telegram groups and WhatsApp groups. Okay, so back to this. Please go and like our Facebook page. Once you have done that, you will also receive posts from what's happening either on our campus or online, as well as, like I said, important announcements for you as students. Then we've also got this high-level button with our events, workshops, and class schedule, and link to the high-level schedule. I will go through that very last. And then this button will appear on each and every page. So each and every tile that you open up, be it digital learning, counseling, numeracy center, writing center, library, whatever, this button will appear there. Then we also have a little video which explains basically what I'm explaining to you now. And this is just all the services that are available to you. Then very important, the assistance at the Western Cape region. We've got our various contact information. Please make sure that you send your emails to the relevant department. What we see students are doing, and I understand that they panic and they send it to about 40. We've even had one student send it to over 80 emails. And then we don't know who has responded to that student. So make sure that you send it to the relevant department for any academic support or ICT. That is any link to your lecturer. If you're not getting a response from your lecturer regarding any emails that you have sent to them, if you're struggling with My Unisa, My Life, if you want to find out about tutorial classes, the Numeracy Center, the Writing Center, anything digital learning, Office 365, that will come to ctandtut@unisa.ac.za. For the emails that you will send to us, please just provide screenshots or any emails that you have referred to an academic or lecturer for support, just so that we can refer that if we need to, that we've got evidence that you have reached out before us for the different support. But we are sort of like a mediator. We are the go-between. Then for student admin, there's application registration, student funding, academic records, payment issues, anything like that will go to capetown@unisa.ac.za or george@unisa.ac.za. So that is also to do with, you're not sure which modules you need to take for the next semester, etc. Those all will go to Cape Town. So that anything to do with student admin. Then student counseling and career guidance services. This is also a free service. If you're finding that you're getting a little bit anxious, closer to exams, closer to assessments, you are feeling stressed or pressured, even if you've got personal issues, loss or grief, then time management strategies as well when it comes to exams, that will go to CPT counseling. We have two counselors we've got one educational psychologist and one registered student counselor who are able to provide you with these services. They also have a host of workshops that they have to support you as students, which I encourage you to please go and have a look at and join those sessions. Then the library services, we do have a library where you can borrow not prescribed books, but recommended books and any journal articles. And this is more when you get into your second and third year. But I'm just saying rather be proactive and go and find out what is available to you. Okay, so then once you get to the bottom section, this is all the services available. There's digital learning tutorial classes. I'm just going to click on this one so that you can see we've only got tutorial classes for management accounting and for economics. And the economics, we still haven't received the approval as yet. So like I said, there's very limited tutorial classes. However, we do support you under the banner of the Numeracy Center. So I'm just going to quickly go through the digital learning. So for those that don't know, we do have an open access computer lab on campus at George and Barrow that you can use where there is free Wi-Fi and devices. Then we also have digital workshops and consultations, both online and face-to-face, where you can come and meet with Sibu or Tabu, who can assist you with any of these issues, My Unisa, My Life, and Office 365. Then we also have resources there where you can self-troubleshoot, and there they are. So we've got just the different My Life and My Unisa resources. There's exam resources where you can go and do mock exams just to see if you are using proctoring tools, how to use the proctoring tools, etc. And then we've also got basic Word, advanced Word, and presentations that you can also go and upskill your digital literacies with. So that is in a nutshell what the digital learning is about. They also have workshops. Next week we are doing PowerPoint. There's one on Tuesday that is in person and one on Thursday that is online. So you can click on this schedule just to go and open up where the links are if you want to join online. It will be at our campus in Barrow if you want to come in and also sit in the session. So I've gone through the tutorial classes. I'm just going to go through the Numeracy Center now. So this is where you will find basically anything related to the numbers, the graphs, the stats, the maths, the economics, decision sciences. This will appear under the Numeracy Center banner. We do have a combined schedule of the Writing Center and Numeracy Center. Remember, the Writing Center, what they are responsible for is upskilling you in your academic reading, academic writing. So how we read and write for academic purposes is completely different to how we read and write when we are reading a novel or writing a poem, our own poetry, etc., etc. Excuse me. So for academic literacies, the Reading and Writing Center is there to provide you with structure on how to structure essays. They're also there to support you in how to understand the exam questions when they ask you to tabulate, explain, define, write a discursive essay, write an argumentative essay, that you as a student know what it means when you are faced with those words in your exams. So there is our combined schedule. This is the Numeracy Center and the Writing Center. Please go through each day, have a look at what is relevant to you as a student, and go and plot and plan against the calendar. That is my advice to you, because you might experience clashes. Then you know when to go and look at the recording and when you must attend the session that is hosted now, like you are in the session at the moment, the live session. So we have classes right through to Saturday. And you can go and do your plotting and planning with those schedules. So once you are in the tile, then you will see like I've already opened the schedule, you will also see the live weekly schedule. So this is on a week-to-week basis. So there you can see is the mathematical modeling and computational skills with a link to join, as well as the notes and recordings. We are experiencing a little bit of technical challenges with our recordings, but our digital learning advisors are on it. They are busy creating playlists for you. So hopefully, Jean, just for your record as well, that we will be sharing the playlists in the chat for students to access, but the notes will still be hosted over here. So this is one way that you can join the session. Students, we are not going to be sending you SMSs every week. We do not want to spam you. However, we will be sending you an email to your My Life account. It's just an email from CT and TAT to remind you about the session that is taking place. If there is any changes to the class, let's say, for example, the session has been cancelled, or the facilitator is not well, whatever the reason may be, then we don't take the session off. We just replace what you will be discussing with a note to say cancelled, next class. So please do come and check the live schedule. If you are in your call and you see that the facilitator is not there, or the students are like, what's going on, come and check the the live schedule so that you can see what has been posted. If there is a last minute thing, life happens, for example, traffic, load shedding, whatever the reason is, we will post a note in the chat for the students as well. That is why it's so important that you register with your Unisa account and not an unverified account, because you will see the chat history so that you can be able to see what is going on in the chat. When you register with those unverified or external accounts, you do not always have all the functionality that you will have when you register with your Unisa account. Okay, so that is one way to join the sessions. And then at the bottom, yeah, you can also see, I just want to get you your one. There is your link to the notes and recordings. I'm just going to click on it so that you can see how it looks. So any notes that Jean posts will be in the class notes folder. This is the first session, that's why there is no recordings, but I just want to show you one where you can see what the recordings look like when they are available. We are working on it, so please just bear with us. So this is basically what you will see with all the sessions that take place. So all the recordings will be hosted there for you. We try and do a 72-hour turnaround time that the recordings do display. Like I said, that we will be sharing the playlists with you so that you will be able to access these recordings now in the absence of this functionality that I am showing. So just bear with us, that will be sorted out hopefully in the coming weeks. And then, like I mentioned earlier, there is this events, workshops, and tutorial class schedule on every tile. If you click on that, it's just the high-level schedule, all combined, etc. You can see I'm just going to go to Monday. We've got campus events, we've got our staff meetings, we've got everything is put in this the schedule. So there you can see is library and their link to join the sessions. Then you can see is the PowerPoint presentation that I mentioned to you earlier. So this is actually not just focusing on PowerPoint, but also we're calling it the art of persuasion, how you can convince your audience. So it's a nice topic to go and have a look at if you are going to go into that space within your careers. And you can see the venue where it will be hosted as well. So that just shows you where you know, if you are going on campus, you know where to go. And you can see this is quite a lengthy schedule. That's why we break it up for the Writing Center. They've got their own little one if you click on that tile. And I've shown you the Numeracy Center. When you click on that tile, it just goes and displays the Numeracy Center events. Okay, so lastly, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just do think it is important that I show you counseling. Because it is important for students if you are feeling that pressure that you know who to reach out to. And like I mentioned, this is a free service. So we do have, I just want to see what's going on here. So there are counseling and career development workshops that can take place where you can, there are links. I'm not sure why they're not working. I will have to find out. But there is different resources. If you're going for a job interview, for example, if you need to write your CV, that under this button, prepare for opportunities, that is where you will get those resources. Then also we get a lot of students that come in and say, okay, I've done my first year now, but this qualification is not for me. I'm changing direction in my career. What do I need to do next? That is where you can go and plan your career or explore careers. And then I did mention that there is one on how to manage your studies, that is managing your time management, and then also study skills, note-taking, note-making, etc. And then the personal development is also for those that are needing support for, grief or loss. There's different resources that you can go and explore there. So I just want to show you Chantal's workshop schedule. So yeah, you can see she's already now starting with next week. There is one assignment and assessment preparation, and also what they will be discussing. They're going to be going through the proctoring tools and the link to join. So these are the different sessions that you can go through as well for counseling if you want to go and look at, and it goes right through to the 5th of September. Some of the events are on campus, but most of them are online, and they're nice and short. They're only an hour and during a lunch hour. Okay, so with that, I just want to get a thumbs up from the students that are on the call to make sure that you understand what I've explained to you and you are happy. If you do not see Western Cape Support Portal, that you will send us an email to CT and TAT. Thank you, S. Cox. Thank you, Asviwe. Other students? Neo, you happy? Kitumechi? Sephora, thank you. Klankla, thank you. Great. So I'm going to hand over to Jean because I think you want to get into the thick of it and get going with your maths. And
Yeah.
good luck. It's not my forte, but I do wish you all the best with your studies in the semester and that you are going to enjoy it and have a very successful one. So have a blessed weekend and I will see you in CT and TUT.
Thanks, Bronwyn, and have a good weekend. So let me also quickly just share the email again, the CT and TUT email, that you guys have it in the chat. And then, as Bronwyn said, I'll quickly, I'm going to share a link to a WhatsApp group, so that you can join the WhatsApp group as well. And then also we'll share. Okay, thanks, Bronwyn, for sharing the register again. So please complete the register. Then the link to the WhatsApp group. If you want to use the link, you can just click on the link to the WhatsApp group to automatically link you to the WhatsApp group, or you can use any of my email addresses or WhatsApp number to send me information. I'll add you to a WhatsApp group, and yeah, the presentation will be, I'll load it this afternoon onto my Unisa platform as well, because in here again you have the CT and TUT email address. Okay, great. So this morning, we're going to look at linear functions. So the big and that is nearly just so that you guys can get into the maths behind the linear functions. Then we're going to do a bit of a linear function where we look at it from an economic point of view. So you guys will most likely have somewhere, if you have economics class, you would look at demand and supply curves and those kind of things. So we will then bring some of those numbers and those functions into the linear function, so that you nearly can see how we use it. We're not, and I think you guys would have seen out of your study material, when we look at linear functions, we quickly will look at the theoretical one, and then we'll move on to all the demand and supply curves. So today we will focus a lot on that. So we will look at a few things like revenue, cost, profit, demand, and supply, and look at how we analyze that, and things that you guys should know. Next week we'll go into simultaneous functions, where we will look, and again, that the maths component where you might get 2 or 3 linear functions that you need to work out for x, y, and z or something like that. But we'll also look at places where we look at equilibrium, break even. So we'll definitely look at that part next week, or not next week, but next time that we have a session. Okay, so a few things that are important, and I think you guys have already started nearly with your first assignment. So you might see that there's like 1 or 2 questions around the theory. So, and then the rest is nearly a big focus on application. So just remember that there is going to be questions on theory as well, so that, and again, you are allowed to use the slides, so I will share the slides afterwards on the My Unisa platform, but also gonna share it on our WhatsApp group. So again, just anybody that has joined now that wants to join the WhatsApp group, the link is in the chat. Also, I will later this afternoon share the link to the recordings as well in the WhatsApp group. Okay, so let's go into revenue, cost, and profit. So cost is basically what you pay for keeping things running. Okay, so you will have the total cost that you need to work out. So your total cost will always have a fixed component and a variable component. So if you look at the graph, your fixed component is something like rent, where you pay rent every month the same amount. So now you know really that's a fixed cost, because you know monthly you will pay a certain amount. Then something like a variable cost, if we just look in our daily lives, electricity usage might be a variable cost. You know that in winter we consume more, so variable cost, if you in the production of a product, might be then a cost that the more you produce, the higher the variable cost. Again, if we look at electricity in our homes, we know winter we using more, so depending on usage, the cost will become more. You can also look at it, the same example from electricity cost is a easy example is the more people in the household, the higher that variable cost will be. So again, it doesn't have an impact on your rent, because your rent is a fixed amount. So if there's 1 person or 4 people in the house, that doesn't matter. But the variable cost, the more people in the house, the higher your electricity can be. Okay, so your total cost function is basically then a combination of your total fixed cost plus a variable cost. And what they will do with your questions in both the assignment and in the exams, they must at least tell you what those things are. So they will most likely tell you there's a total cost, then there's a variable cost, and you need to work out the number of units or something like that. Okay, so just remember, total cost is total fixed cost plus nearly the variable cost. So, and this is for one that is mostly in your study guides. And if you Google total cost functions or videos around total cost, that is normally the one that you will see that we're talking about. Okay, so first thing is total cost, but then you also making money. So again, if you're in production of something, you will make money. So, and in that instance, they talk about it as revenue. It's revenue, it's income. It might be anything that how you acquire money. Um, but also what is important with that is, so if you are selling something, then the more you sell, the bigger the total revenue will become. So your price per item is the same. So if I pay 10 Rand for a pencil, um, the more I sell, the bigger the revenue. Okay, so first we looked at total cost to say what am I paying to produce a product, and then the revenue is what somebody else is paying me so that they can get hold of that product. And then we all strive in, if we have a business, to make profit. So profit is basically the formula where we have total revenue minus total cost. Okay, so that is how we will define profit. And then with that profit, again, they can ask you a bit of theory. So when your total revenue and your total cost is exactly the same, then you're making no profit. And so then you're producing, you're getting money back for that, but you are basically making no profit. If your revenue is bigger than your cost, great. That is where we want to be. Then you're making a profit. But if you are getting less revenue in than what it costs you to make it, then we are basically making a loss. Okay, so this is nearly the one part that is important is cost, revenue, and profit. Um, we'll at the end we go through a few examples as well, but I have quickly put together one example. So just if you have paper, just jot down this for yourself first, and then we can work through it. So a tuck shop has fixed cost of 600 Rand per week. They sell pies at a fixed price of 25 Rand each, while the production cost per pie is 10 Rand. And we assume all the pies will be sold. Okay, so write down your total cost, total revenue, and then we work out the profit. So I give you like a minute just to jot down, and then I will quickly show you guys how we will do that. Okay, so let's look. Total cost is normally fixed cost plus average cost. So let's just so let me quickly put in the register again. So I'm also quickly opening the register so that you guys can just see. So if you're on the register, we are doing 1520, so you just click that, and then if you Western Cape region, but if you're one of the other regions, not a problem. Just click which region and you will submit. Okay, so that is how we do the register. So enter student number, we're doing DSC 1520, and then you just pick which region. So it is on this link in the chat. Okay, total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. So let's see, they told us a tuck shop has fixed cost of 600 per week. That is your fixed cost is 600. And then your variable cost, so they sell it while the production cost is 10 Rand per pie. And so your variable cost is 10 Rand per pie. So that will be your total cost function. Total revenue is they sell pies at a fixed price of 25. So 25 Rand per pie, so that's 25x. And your profit then is your total revenue minus your total cost. So total revenue is 25x minus your cost, which is 600 plus 10x. So if we had just to write it out as a formula, it's bigger again. Hold on, this always happen, but let's do it. Then just remember, because there's a minus, it's minus 600 minus 10x. So our total will then be, the profit will be 25x minus 10x, so 15x minus 600. And so that will be your profit function. Okay, so again, just profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. At this stage, they don't say to us how many pies are created, if we are making a profit or making a loss, or if it is break even. We don't know. They're just telling us we need to work out total cost, total revenue, and profit functions. Okay. Then the next one is demand and supply, and you guys might have seen it in some of your economics courses. So most of the time you would have seen, and we will go through each of them, but the graph of demand and supply. So a bit different to the total cost and fixed cost of profit. Here it is all about the product that you're selling, what is the demand for it, how much can you supply. Then this is also used a lot in the study unit after this, where we're looking at linear programming, where we look at feasible areas. So basically what is possible in a demand and supply environment. Okay, so again, just a bit of theory so that if they ask it, it is nicely summed up for you. So if they ask what can drive or can affect the demand curve, so basically income, the price of substitutes or supplement goods. So again, we go now back to your economics. So they will not ask you in DSC or in any of the decision sciences the economic theory. Okay, so don't worry about that. So you will never need to, in decision sciences, need to say what's a supplement good or anything like that. So please don't worry about that. Decision sciences is you don't need to worry about the economics. They assume inverse that you've done the economics, so they will never ask you definitions about economics. So please don't worry about that. Then obviously the level of advertising. So you guys will know when you see something advertised, especially like for me is when it's nearly dinner time and then suddenly all your takeaway companies are advertising. And suddenly, yeah, it's one of those weird things, but they know how it's working. The demand will suddenly increase. So just think about yourself as well. So very practical if you look at level of advertising. So any any advertising between 6 and 8 in the evening, suddenly if it is Steers or KFC or whoever, you just want that. So that is just a perfect way of illustrating how demand will be affected by just a bit of advertising. Then obviously, if there's demand, there must be a supply chain. So things that will influence your supply is obviously the cost of the production, then price of other goods. So again, advertising KFC versus McDonald's versus Steers. We know which one is cheaper than the other one. So yes, you might have a level of advertising where the one suddenly is prompted more, but it also depends on the price of the goods if you will buy it. So supply, very important, the price of the goods available. Technology, so again, do you need to go to a place to buy it, or can you buy it quickly on an app? So the availability of technology also has a direct impact on the supply. And obviously the last one that we never want to talk about, taxes. So if and this might be for things that you want to import, or even so there might be taxes on certain products. On bread, there's subsidies. So again, subsidies on other products that might influence the supply. Okay, so that's a bit of a theory, but if we look at the formula, so the demand formula, you can see that it is, and if we go back to our maths definition, the slope is negative. So if you look at the minus b, means that demand curve is nearly going down. So just remember the slope is a negative slope, where when we get to supply, the supply is a positive slope. Okay, so whenever you see it in written down, so if we have something like y is mx plus c, and that m is positive, it will look like that. So then we know we're dealing with a supply. If it is if your slope is negative, so minus mx plus c, then it will be a demand curve. Okay, so but we will go through a few of those to show you again how it works, but supply and demand. So, and that you will see in your assignments in the exam. They ask a lot the demand and supply work. So, and we'll get to demand and supply when we go later on to study units 5, 6, when we look at differentiation and all those kind of things as well. Okay, so just remember your demand is a negative slope where your supply is a positive slope. Okay, so demand, supply, and then let me quickly just see. There must be another one that needs to be in here. So let me quickly. That is weird. Or we're only doing it. Okay, we're only doing it next week, where it is when demand and supply is equal. What that is called. So when we look at equilibrium, and so let me quickly, I think that we cover only next week, the equilibrium and break even. So then we will take the demand and supply curve a bit further, and we will look at equilibriums and those kind of things. So basically, what is that point where the supply is equal to demand? But we will work with that next week. Then we will also look at producer surplus and consumer surplus and those kind of things. So that is everything that we will need to do in our next session. Okay, so demand, supply, and then a very important thing that they also ask, and you also need to know, is the price elasticity. Okay, so price elasticity of demand. There's a price elasticity of supply as well, but one that we see the most in assignments and in the exams is price elasticity of demand. Okay, and one thing I just want to add to that, so we'll go through an exercise where we will look at how to use this, but I also normally draw just a line for myself, because you might get examples where they say you need to work out the price elasticity, but then they tell you, okay, the answer is minus 0.05. I'm just now making something up, but then they say, well, minus 0.05 is inelastic. So what I like about this number frame is I put all of this information that's in the table in a number frame so that I can say any number bigger than 0. Sorry. Oh, I had a sneeze, sorry. Any number bigger than 1 is elastic. Any number smaller than 1 is inelastic, but when any number smaller than -1 is also elastic. And then you've got this area between -1 and 1 that is inelastic. Okay, so I like to use this normally because if you get a question where they say your answer is this and it's elastic, your answer is this, it's inelastic, your answer is this, perfect or elastic or perfect inelastic, then at least it gives you also some guidance on where to go. Because I've seen a few times where they might say you've got 4 answers, where the one is 0.05, and they say inelastic, then they say 0.05 elastic, and so forth. So it might just be, in a sense, a nice one to quickly recognize which answers you might go for and which ones not. Okay, and then just quickly looking at the formula for elasticity of demand. So basically, we'll look at the change in the quantity divided by the percentage change in the price. Okay, so change in quantity divided by the change in price. So that will give us the elasticity. So if you look at price elasticity of supply, then nearly it's the change in the supply divided by the change in price. So again, we'll look at the example maybe later on just to get a bit more clarity on how we will use that. Okay, so we're going to go through a few examples. The other thing I wanted to mention, so I think like Bronwyn said, we don't share while you guys are doing the assignments or questions of the assignments on WhatsApp or anything, but please keep those questions that you are struggling with, and you can send it to me, that when we going to do later on exam prep, that we can look at all those questions. I think it is important that if there is questions that you guys are struggling with, please you can send it to me after the assignment was done, that we look at it for prep for the exam. You can send it on our WhatsApp group as well after the closure of the assignment, so that we can pick it up and look at it at some stage. Yeah, just be careful on both. If you're on one of the Telegram groups or on WhatsApp, let's not share while the assignment is alive any of her questions, but please keep those questions, but we definitely look at it after your assignments has been done and when we prep for exam. Okay, so let's look at a few questions. So I got some of these out of previous exam papers, out of your study guides, out of previous assignment questions. So let's look at this. So, and remember, this session is just around linear functions. So it's around the costing function. So total cost, total revenue, profit, and then demand and supply. So suppose the cost of manufacturing 10 units of a product is 40 Rand, and the cost of manufacturing 20 units is 70 Rand. The cost C is linear related to output Q. The cost of producing 35 items is. Okay, so I think that's an interesting one that we can look at. I'm just wondering why. So that they could have just spaced better. But when we read it, it makes more sense. So let's quickly go through it and see what we need to do. So what would you guys have done in this instance? So if you've now seen this, what would your first step be in doing here? So what would you have done? Sorry about that. In this question. Okay. Okay, so cool. So let's look. So they say if a cost C is linear related to output Q, so let's do that. Let's say it's linear related. So, and that I actually haven't shown you guys. So we get to the M. So we get to the slope is change in Y over change in X. So let's quickly check. The change in Y is for cost. So what is cost 2 minus cost 1? So it is exactly, we've got the 2 points. So we're going to work out the slope by using the two points. So the one was 10 units and 40. And the other one was 20 units and 70. Okay, so I must remember, don't think I have added it here. Let me just check. No, so I will add to that slide pack just how we do the slope, the M. So that is change in Y over change in X. So the change in cost is 70 minus 40. The change in quantity is 20 minus 10. So that gives us 70 minus 40 is 30. 20 minus 10 is 10. So 50 divided by 10 is 3. So we know that the slope is 3. So at this moment, it's B. And they ask us basically, what is the cost of producing 35 items? Okay, so the other thing that we then have in this, I just want to get my calculator. I don't have, I must quickly go into into Excel. I don't know where my home calculator is. Obviously somebody took it. um, okay, so we've got this. So now basically, um, if you look at this formula, if I put in 35 at the moment, I still don't know what B is. So I still first need to work out what is that place where it is a cutoff. So at the moment, um, we know M is positive. So at the moment, I have this graph, but I don't know what that cutoff is yet. I know it's B, but I don't know what it is yet. Let's say I've got a point here that was, you guys will never need to draw a graph because all your questions is online. So you will not need to draw a graph, but let's just quickly do that. So that was for 10, that's for 20, that's for 40, and that's for 70. Okay, so we've worked out the slope by saying what is the differences in that. So the 70 minus the 40, the 20 minus the 10. So that's how we work out the slope. Now we still need to work out what is my y cutoff. That we can do by replacing in this formula that we currently have one of these 2 points, and any one of the 2 points, it's not a problem. So let's use that first point. So we know then that the cost 40 is equal to 3, Q is 10. So let me not write down the Q. We can first, let's supplement it. Okay, so 40 is equal to 50 plus B. When we take the 50 to the left-hand side, 40 minus 50, so B is equal to 10. Okay, so that Y cutoff is 10. And it looks nearly in line if you look at it 70, 40, 10. So it feels correct as well. So then our formula looks like this at the moment. 3Q plus 10. So then they ask us what is the total cost of producing 35 items. So total cost when we produce 35 items is just this formula. So we substitute into the cube with 35, then our answer will be 115. So 3 times 35 will give you 105, plus 10 will give you 115. Okay, so like you said, we basically have 2 points. With those 2 points, we will work out what the linear function is, and then we will substitute one of the points to get your B, and then we substitute the cost or the how many units. So if they've asked this in a mathematical question, so if I did not include what we've done now in total cost, variable cost, and the profit, they could have just asked you, you've got 2 points, 10 and 40 is your 1 point, 20 and 70 is your other point, and you need to work out what is the cost if a quantity is 35. Okay, so that is also a way that they can ask it. Okay, so they might, out of this, also go to price elasticity, because so they can give you nearly the same set of information, so that you need to look at price elasticities as well, because price elasticity, you use nearly the same information, but they will be very clear if they ask a price elasticity question. Let me quickly, I think I've got, okay, see, so here we will go into that. So they must be very clear in what they ask you. They could have asked it on this one as well, but then they need to say between the 2 points or something like that. So if you look at the one that we will cover in a few minutes' time, then they say it is between 7 and 5 rand. So they could have said to you or asked the price elasticity between the 20 and the 10. But for price elasticity, they need to tell you, you need to work out the price elasticity. They can't just, yeah. So they need to give you enough information in that so that you can work out price elasticity. And you guys will also note, but this is how we will see that later on when we get to study units 5 and 6, when we move. So how this subject is working is we're first doing linear equations, so straight line equations. With that, we work out price elasticity. With that, we will work out consumer surplus, producer surplus. Then we will move into quadratic functions or cube functions. So basically your non-linear functions. And then we will do exactly the same with that. We'll look at elasticities, we look at producer and consumer surplus. So So you guys will see as we go through all the study units, there is nearly like a few steps. We'll look at the maths component. So, but here I will add a slide for you guys so that we just see the math component, how to work out the straight line, how to work out the slope and those kind of things. Then they bring in the demand and supply. Then we bring in price elasticity. We'll bring in break even and equilibrium pricing next week. Then we go to non-linear. We'll look at the non-linear function in a mathematical way. Then we look at non-linear break-even and equilibrium. Then we will look at non-linear, where we will look at price elasticity, and then we will look at non-linear producer and consumer surplus. So it will follow nearly that pattern for these subjects. Okay, so we will get to a price elasticity one where, let's just quickly, with this information, you could have done it as well, because you had your line, you can use it in this one as well. I just don't know if it would have worked out or gotten an answer, because sometimes it is very finicky to get to an answer that makes sense if we just make up a line. Okay, so here is the practical one. So normally it will be the other way around, where we, sorry, not practical, the theoretical one, where it's the maths. So find the equation of a line passing through the points. So we don't talk about demand, supply, anything like this. So I should have started with this one. So mx plus c, that is the traditional straight line formula. I have 2 points, so I will look at my m first to work it out. So m is the slope, and my slope, then I can work out the change in y over the change in x. I want to quickly check, yeah, this is not available on your calculators. I think it might be that the Sharp can do something like this, but let's quickly change in y. So 2 minus 1. So it's that 2 and that 1. So that's 2 minus 1. I hate it that we work with fractions, but for now, we need to do that. So then it is 4 over 3 minus 3. Okay, so at the top, 2 minus 1 is 1. At the bottom, 4 divided by 3 is 1/3 minus 3. So we're sitting with minus 1.667. So that answer one divided by minus 1.667, I get minus 0.6. Let me just quickly check that again. 1 divided by 1.667. Okay, and then you will also notice negative. So We will also get to this one study unit where we will need to say which linear lines is correct. So if we needed to draw this one at the moment with this information, we know it's negative, so it will be something like that. We don't know yet what that point is because that we will need to work out. We don't know that point yet, but that's not that important, but the Y cutoff is important for the C. Okay, so at the moment, my formula looks something like this: minus 0.6 x plus c. Then to work out the c, we replace one of these 2 points. So I would rather replace it with the ones that does not have fractions. I really don't like working with fractions. So my x and y points, so y is 1, my x is 3, and that will be plus c. So 0.6 times 3, remember it's negative, so that will be negative 1.8. We'll take it to the left-hand side, then it becomes positive 1.8. That is equal to c, so c will be equal to 2.8. Okay, and then now that we have that, we can write our formula down. So that is y is equal to minus 0.6 x plus 2.8. Okay, and then that will be your linear formula that we are working with. I just quickly want to see. Okay, so you can, if you guys like to work with fractions, that would have been something like minus 3 over 5, and that will also have been fractions. But yeah, I don't like working with fractions, so I will just change it into decimals and work with that. Yeah, I really don't like working with fractions. It just makes it much more difficult if you need to work with it at a later stage as well. Okay, so this would then have been your linear equation. So again, nearly what we will see with the linear functions is you get the pure maths one, and that is normally how it is in your assignment as well. Get the pure maths one, then you get the demand plus supply one, and then we go into the 2 price elasticity questions. So the one is the demand, and is the other one supply, or both is just demand. Okay, so the reason also why I added 2 supply or price elasticity questions is so that you can see the 2 differences. Just remember, all your assignments is multiple choice. Exam also multiple choice, so you're not gonna get a question like this without answers. When we prep also later on for your exam, you will always have options that you need to pick out of. Okay, so this is more for us to practice and see and and work through it so that we don't look at the answers before we get there. But in all your assignments, it's multiple choice. So it will be working with that, and you will always have the options to choose out of answers. Okay, so let's look at this question. So if a demand function is P is equal to 70 minus 0.5 Q, where P and Q are the price and quantity, determine the expression for the price elasticity of demand in terms of P. Okay, we don't need to solve it. We just need to determine the expression in terms of P. Okay, so again, what they love asking you guys, and there's normally 2 questions out of it in your exam where you need to rewrite formulas. So and that is why I will later on share a few pages with some formulas on it as well. But that is something that you guys can already nearly start practicing, is they love to ask that you rewrite a formula. So where we normally will have a simple formula, they love for you to rewrite it in a different format. Okay, so this one, it's all about, we need to rewrite it. So you don't need to work out what is the price elasticity. We just need to write it in a formula. Okay, so let's look at what we need to do. And I just quickly, so if we look at some of the formulas that we have, just want to rewrite it into that formula. So if you look at, where was the price elasticity of demand? Okay, so percentage change in quantity, percentage change in price. Okay, so look, there is your price. So we can rewrite that elasticity of demand. Let's do that. That is how it will look in terms of P. And what is your A? If you look at that, it's 70. So this is all that they wanted. Elasticity of demand in terms of your P function. So we will, if you needed to work it out, we will replace P inverse with 70 minus 0.5 Q. But we don't need to do that. For this one, we just need to write it down, the price elasticity in terms of P. Didn't need to work it out, but if you want to go and work it out, I worked it out as 0.4, but that you can do as an exercise on your own. But that again is just showing how sometimes we We want to just get to the answer. And what will happen in the exam, and just be careful with that, is they will most likely put an answer in as well. So that they give you a few options with P, and then suddenly there's an option like 0.4 as well. Just so to make sure that you actually read the question, because a lot of times we misread the question and we assume they want a certain answer. So just be very careful in all your decision sciences questions, subjects that you have. So if you have DSC 1630, if you have QMI, if you have BNU, all of these subjects is normally we get that we need to work out an answer. But just in between those questions, sometimes they do throw in that you just need to work out the formula. Okay, so last one, you can see the same formula, the 70 minus 5Q, and then they tell us that we need to work between 7 and 5 rand. Okay, so they're using exactly the same question. Now they ask us to work out what is the price elasticity. Okay, so price elasticity of demand. So let's just, if we needed to write the formula again, you guys must find again the way that's easiest for you. Remember, assignment and exams are multiple choice. So they don't look at any of the work, how you got to the answer. So if you have shorter ways of working it out, do that. It's always good to have easier ways to work it out. Just remember, sorry, that is a B. So 1 minus, so again, if we had this as A minus EQ, so what is your B? It's minus 0.5. And then we look at price difference. Price is 7, price is 5. That is where they have given it to us. Okay, so that's your price 1, price 2. Let's quickly see Q1 and Q2. We don't have it. Okay, so we need to still work out a Q1 and Q2. So again, how do we do that? We've got the two prices. So for the 7 rand, let's put it in. Let me just do this. Q1, where we're looking at 7 rand. The 7 is equal to 70 minus 0.5 Q, so that we at least get the answer for Q. So Q1, that will, the 70 will go to your left-hand side. So 7 minus 70 will give you minus 63. That is equal to minus 0.5q. If we divide both sides now with minus 0.5q, we get that q, let's call it q1, is equal to 126. q1 is equal to 126. Okay, then q2 is for 5 rand. Exactly the same process as how we would have worked out q1. That with minus 70 go to the left hand side, so 5 minus 70 gives us 75, is equal to minus 0.5q. So if we divide both sides again with minus 0.5q, we will get that q2 is equal to 150. Okay, so now we've got those two numbers as well, and then we can work it out. So now, yeah, unfortunately, again, we're working with formulas and fractions. So at this stage, I'm not going to work with the fractions to get the answer in fractions. I will just work it out as decimals. So 12 divided by 256 gives me 0.047. Then if I multiply that by 1 divided by 0.5, I get, and let's just round it off to 3 decimals, 0.94, so minus 0.094. And then let's just check, is it elastic or inelastic? So smaller than 1, yes, it's negative, but it's bigger than minus 1. So it is sitting in this space between minus 1 and 1. So we can then say, oh, well, then minus 0.094 is inelastic. Okay, so that is how we would have worked this out. So again, if you want to do this previous one, you again need to, so I assumed when we worked out that 0.4, I assumed it would have been between, I think, the 0 and one of the other points, and not between 7 and 5 rand. So again, very important to note. So if you say between 0 and 7 and 4 rand, that will change. That will change. So then you will get a different answer. So very important nearly is this thing of between which price points. They might have given you quantity. So if they've given you quantity, you could work out the price as well. So let's look at that first, this one where we also chatted about elasticities. So here, what we needed to do also is work out that formula so that we can get to the B that we needed. And then again, you had those 2 points that you could work out the elasticity. So again, they can, with this ask elasticity, they can give you other information to work out elasticity. Okay, so it does not need always to be exactly the same. So if I give you the two quantities, you can work out the two pricings. Okay, they can give you that formula. What else can they see? So they could have given you the 2 points when you work out the formula and when you work out the elasticity. So that is also fine. But there needs to be enough information in your question to at least be able to work out certain things. So you can't just get the 1 point or something like that. They at least need to tell you the 2 points. So they always need to give you all the price and quantity points, or they need to give you a formula with a point, but there needs to be enough information so that you can work out what is needed. Okay, so that is on application of linear functions. Next time we'll now bring those two things together, where we will then look at the equilibrium, we will look at break even, we'll go into consumer and producer surplus, and then something that you will get in all assignments, or not all assignments, all assignments on these study units, exam, they love asking linear programming. So there is normally 2 or 3 graphs that they will, or 2 or 3 questions on linear programming that they will ask. So we will definitely go into linear programming. Got a lot of previous exam papers and exercises that we will look at, because there is a few ways that they can ask it. Okay, so that is the session. So just please, again, I'm going to put in a few links in the chat. So the registration form is in now. The attendance register, then the evaluation form is also, the link is in there now. And also, if you're not part of the WhatsApp group yet, I am putting in the link to the WhatsApp group. If you can't access that link, then please also WhatsApp me on 083-790-8387. I will add you to the WhatsApp group, so that I'll normally share the presentation on the WhatsApp group as well. It will be on the Western Cape portal as well, but later on this afternoon I will share it on the group, as well as the link to the recording. Okay, so that is it for today, everyone. We will see again, and then we will look at the break evens and those kind of things.